Guys, welcome to another video talking with AI. Just a little bit sub bro, be my friend. I was just speaking German, so let's do it again in English. Can you please again say what we just talked about in English, and also what's the matter on this date? What should we talk about?
No problem at all. We were talking about how technology, especially AI, is rapidly changing our lives and how it can sometimes feel overwhelming. It's natural to feel a bit lost when things move so quickly, but it's also important to remember that
Oh,
AI
I
evolves.
actually, I
We
actually, I actually have a very interesting topic. Smart people underestimate themselves, and dumb people overestimate. Um, what is the matter with that?
That's a fascinating topic. It touches on something known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. Essentially, it suggests that people with lower ability or knowledge in a certain area tend to overestimate their skills, while those with higher ability tend to underestimate themselves. This happens for a few reasons. People with less knowledge might not recognize their mistakes, while experts are more aware of the complexities and their own limitations.
Oh, I have a really wait. Um, wait a sec. Okay, keep going, keep going. Sorry.
No worries. So, the Dunning-Kruger effect really highlights the importance of humility and continuous learning. It's natural to have moments of doubt, especially when we're aware of how much there is to learn. But recognizing that can actually be a strength. It encourages us to stay curious, seek feedback, and keep improving. What are your thoughts on that?
Wait, what? Can you please summarize again? I was not.
Of course. The Dunning-Kruger effect is when people with less knowledge or skill tend to overestimate their abilities, while those with more knowledge tend to underestimate themselves. This happens because less knowledgeable people might not recognize their mistakes, while experts are more aware of their limitations. It emphasizes the importance of staying humble and always being open to learning and improving.
So I'm just like looking about a topic I wanted to talk about. I'm a little bit, mm, not
Take your
sure.
time. No rush at all. Feel
So
free to share whenever you're ready.
there's so
If
many
you'd like,
topics. There's so many topics you can talk about, and I'm not always sure. I just want to like, okay, I just actually want to do a topic that I feel like is okay. So I wanted to talk about musicians and kind of the manage like being overly emotional and how artists mostly are trapped in being emotional, and it's like for me, for example, it's like when you've been an artist for like 4 or 5 years, you have to kind of unlearn being emotional and kind of go back. Like there's it's either being a technical guy and like a business type of thinking. Like it's all about your mind, you know, how it is trained, right? If you've been an artist and you've been trained to be creative and just overly free, your mind will not be good at in math or like actually like trying to learn something. It will just kind of be like all over the place, right? It's hard to actually focus and kind of do stuff that actually uses analytics, right? But if you've been this guy that just does like works the job and everything and normal, like it's much easier to get into that. What's the science behind that?
that's an intriguing topic. The balance between creative and analytical thinking is a common challenge for many artists. Here's a bit of insight. 1. Creative versus analytical thinking. Creative thinking often involves divergent thinking, which is more about exploring many possible solutions and being open ended. Analytical thinking, on the other hand, involves convergent thinking, which is about narrowing down options and focusing on a specific solution. Both are valuable, but they require different mental approaches. 2. Training and adaptability. When someone
Can
has
you
been
please
trained,
can you please talk to me like a normal conversation and not just and mark those points and everything? I want to know your opinion because also like I kind of like my real question is it like actually true that if your mind is trained to be either creative or analytic, it actually untrains the other side?
I get what you're asking. It's not so much that focusing on one side untrains the other, but more about how we use our brains. Creative and analytical thinking are like two different muscles. If you train one a lot, you might not use the other as much, but that doesn't mean you can't still access it. It's more about balance and flexibility. For
Yeah, but
example,
also yeah, okay, for example, tell me.
sure, think of it this way. A musician who's used to being creative and expressive might find it challenging to switch to a more structured, analytical task at first. But with practice, they can definitely learn to apply
But
analytical thinking too.
it takes years to get back to that pattern, right? It really takes years, because if you've been an artist, like let's say the most ridiculous, like Playboy Cardi, like really trapped in that, like all like everything is basically like a fever dream, right? Everything is like a fever dream, and going back to actually like imagine Playboy Cardi, like you know all this like aura and stuff and everything he does, like going back to a normal job, right? I'm not just saying an artist playing the guitar. I'm saying like the ridiculous type of artist, right?
I see what you mean. For someone like Playboy Cardi, whose artistry is all about breaking norms and being in a constant flow of creativity, shifting to a more conventional, structured environment can feel like a big adjustment. It's not about losing the ability to think analytically, but more about adapting to
But
different
like,
contexts.
he's been, for example, he's been like talking like, yeah, everything like slag, like wet, 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 like just random words that doesn't make sense. Like has not been using, let's say he has not been using normal English for 5 years. That is actually a very very hard, like that is a difference. That is crazy. Like the language, everything changes, the environment, everything, like the patterns, the habits, like literally, it's like a whole different kind of living.
Absolutely. The shift can be huge. When someone like that has been immersed in a particular creative world, it can definitely affect how they communicate and interact with others. It's like their brain gets used to a certain way of thinking and expressing themselves. But here's the thing, people are adaptable. While it might take time to shift gears, it's definitely possible. It's all about being open to change and finding ways to integrate different
Okay,
aspects of your.
get some studies in, get some science in. I want to know what is researched on that topic of creative and analytic brain.
Research indicates that creative and analytical thinking involve different brain regions. Creative thinking often engages areas like the default mode network, which is active during spontaneous and imaginative thought. On the other hand, analytical thinking activates regions associated with focused, logical processing, such as the prefrontal cortex. Studies have shown that while these cognitive styles are different, they are not mutually exclusive. Many tasks require a blend of both creative and analytical thinking. This balance can be developed and
But
refined over time.
for me, there's been feeling like I need to retrain to be kind of like actually like thinking and everything straight.
It's completely normal to feel that way. The great thing is that the brain is very adaptable. If you want to shift your thinking or develop new skills, you can definitely do it. Start by setting small, achievable goals and gradually challenge yourself. You can engage in activities that combine both creative and analytical aspects, like problem solving in a creative way or exploring new hobbies that. Leider hast du.
Okay, I've reached the limit. Interesting conversation today. Definitely, for sure. I appreciate you guys for watching as always. It was a good one. It was an interesting one. Yeah, sup bro, be my friend. We can also talk, write comments, join the community. I'll see you guys in the next one.